Ladies and gentlemen, right here in the ring, we have Tommy Wilson taking on the debuting Erik Baeden in SoCalPro Wrestling. Very anxious to see what this Erik Baeden is made of right here. He looks like a very tough, very rough and tough competitor, almost in the vein of an Arn Anderson or an Ole Anderson right here. Managed by, of course, Brian Zane, who is not very popular with the fans here in Riverside. Tommy Wilson with a side headlock early on, off the ropes, and Baeden taken down by a big shoulder block from Tommy Wilson. Of course, Tommy Wilson, we heard from him earlier, he's getting ready to team up with SoCal Crazy to take on the SoCalPro Tag Team Champions, Cool Imagery. Again, that's going to be at Collision Course 3 on May 23rd in Oceanside, California. For more information on that great event and all SoCal Pro Wrestling events, please check out www.SoCalProWrestling.com. Tommy Wilson powering out, but Erik Baeden showing his power of his own right here, keeping Tommy grounded in that side headlock. Off the ropes. Oh, big shoulder block by Baeden. Hip toss by Tommy Wilson, though. And Baeden not looking good in the early goings here. Oh, and Brian Zane right there getting his hands on the action. And allowing Baeden to get the leg up on Tommy Wilson, but not this time. Tommy Wilson just firing back at Erik Baeden right here. Tommy Wilson, perhaps right now the hottest star in SoCal Pro Wrestling. We saw him at the one-year anniversary celebration, taking the victory for his team in that six-man tag team match, teaming with Cool Imagery to take on the Ballards and Todd Chandler. He was the victor in that matchup, the one who took the pinfall on Todd Chandler and the difference maker. And of course, at the end of the night, we also saw Tommy Wilson come out to the rescue, to the aid of his best friend in professional wrestling, his best friend in the whole entire world, SoCal Crazy, fending off the likes of Jason Redondo, Scott Lost, and look at that. Look at that. Brian Zane just choking Tommy Wilson on the top rope. Brian Zane will do whatever it takes to get his man the victory, apparently. And Baeden there with the roll-up, but no, Tommy Wilson gets up. But like what I was saying, you know, Tommy Wilson saving SoCal Crazy from Jason Redondo, from Scott Lost, from the Ballards, from Todd Chandler. Tommy Wilson laid them all out, hooked a big super kick on Shannon Ballard to seal the deal, and then, of course, asked SoCal Crazy to be his tag team partner at Collision Course 3. And now right here, he's got a big battle ahead of him. A big matchup. You know, Erik Baeden could definitely take Tommy Wilson out of that matchup. You know, this Erik Baeden, I've heard a lot about him up in Oregon. Tough wrestler, tough combatant. He likes to use that horse collar finishing maneuver. It's a submission where he hooks the top leg around his neck, very painful. If he hits that submission maneuver on Tommy Wilson, he might not only win the match, but Tommy Wilson might not even make it to a Collision Course 3. Now Erik Baeden looks like he's got a chin locker that might even be a sleeper hold on Tommy Wilson. Of course, you got to keep your eye out for Brian Zane of Z-Man Enterprises. I gotta wonder if there's any gimmick infringement, any trademark infringement going on right there with the whole Z-Man deal. But I don't know. Anyway, bottom line is this. Tommy Wilson misses no, he kind of connects with a dropkick right there, but he doesn't quite get all of it. Tommy Wilson looked like he was going for a big dropkick. Kind of grazed Erik Baeden there, but didn't fully connect. Baeden was slightly stunned, but Tommy Wilson definitely took the worst of that one. Erik Baeden now tossing Tommy Wilson to the outside. Tommy Wilson chasing Brian Zane, not having any of Zane's antics. And Zane is running. I'll tell you what, this Brian Zane is a lot faster than I anticipated. Tommy Wilson looks like he's going to spray him with whatever it is. And there's Erik Baeden with the sneak attack. I'll tell you what, this is turning into a handicap match right here. And again, Tommy Wilson, you know, a win in this match would mean everything. It would mean a momentum on his side going into that big tag team title match. Probably the biggest match of his career and one of the biggest matchups, if not the biggest matchups in the history of SoCalPro Wrestling. Again, in that matchup, all the champions in SoCalPro Wrestling will be in the ring at the same time. Big drop kick right there by Erik Baeden to the seated Tommy Wilson. This Erik Baeden, I'll tell you what, he's rough, he's tough, and he is very impressive here. Bow and arrow type submission by Erik Baeden right here. And that really wrenches the rear delts, the posterior deltoids, the anterior deltoids, really wrenching them right there. Tommy Wilson fighting out of it though. A couple punches to the gut. Whips Erik Baeden off. Baeden counters. Oh, and Tommy Wilson, the momentum, the power of Erik Baeden just sent Tommy Wilson right to the floor. And now the ref is distracted by Erik Baeden. And what's this? Brian Zane of Z-Man Enterprises getting the shots in, getting his licks in while Tommy Wilson is down. I'll tell you what, this Brian Zane is despicable. Tommy Wilson barely getting back in the ring, not looking so good right now. But Erik Baeden meets him with some fists of his own. Again, remember, here Tommy Wilson's in singles action, but at Collision Course 3, he'll have a partner in his corner. And not just a partner, but his best friend, SoCal Crazy. And of course, that's going to be a whole different dynamic for him there than, of course, right here at Riverside right now. Oh, and Tommy Wilson comes up empty. Erik Baeden looks like he's going to hook another bow and arrow type maneuver. Again, working the lower back, the mid back of Tommy Wilson. It seems to be that's been the game plan of Erik Baeden right here, and I'm sure that Erik Baeden and Brian Zane worked out this plan before this matchup so they can have a successful debut here in SoCalPro Wrestling. Both men staggering to their feet, exchanging punches. Who's going to win this war of attrition right here? Baeden off the ropes. Samoan drop. Will we see it? Airplane spin by Tommy Wilson instead. Big release. Belly to belly connects. Tommy Wilson's fired up. And if Tommy Wilson is like this on May 23rd at Collision Course 3, we might be seeing new tag team champions. Oh! Baeden countered what looked like a side suplex attempt. Oh! Release German! And he just folded Tommy Wilson up like an accordion. He's got the pinfall. This could be it. No! Tommy Wilson barely getting the shoulder up. And you gotta wonder what's left in the tank of Tommy Wilson after that maneuver. Erik Baeden just folded Tommy Wilson up, and Tommy Wilson is no small man. He's pushing the 300-pound mark right there, but Erik Baeden displaying his power, just tossing him like a pack of feathers, basically. Tommy Wilson springboard back suplex, this time gets it, but he just can't capitalize. Gets the cover, hooks the leg, and Baeden kicks out. Tommy Wilson, trademark Tommy Wilson right here. Double underhook. Will we see the Tiger Bomb? Yes, we will. This should be it. 1, 2, no! Erik Baeden kicks out. And what's this? Brian Zane's up on the ropes, distracting the ref, and uh-oh. Tommy Wilson has got a handful of Brian Zane right here, and the fans want to see him get him. Oh! Baeden almost connects with Zane. Tommy Wilson counters it, throws Baeden into Zane. Super kick misses. Erik Baeden counters a super kick. Obviously had Tommy Wilson scouted. Oh, T-bone suplex. Fans, this should be it. The upset has happened. No! Tommy Wilson gets the shoulder up. I thought for sure that was going to be an upset. Erik Baeden throwing everything he has at Tommy Wilson right here. But so far he hasn't thrown enough. Tommy Wilson ducks. Super kick connects. The ref can count to 3. He can count to 10. Tommy Wilson is your victor.